that was a beautiful
Devastating.
punch. Yeah.
Devastating.
Someone put the clip together. They put the knockout from against Usman and the punch that dropped Masvidal against Rodrigo Dam.
Right.
Really early
Yeah,
fights.
I did see that. Very similar, right?
I remember watching that fight as well and thinking to myself, God, that was a good clean punch.
Yeah.
But he didn't lose. He recovered from that fight. I think he lost a decision.
It was.
I think that's his one of the stoppage. I think that's. Let me just check it.
It was a pretty special performance by.
It was amazing.
Kamaru. It really was. He's just solidified himself as completely dominant at that weight, isn't he? He's just completely dominant. I can't see Colby bothering him. Can you?
I don't. I'm not really interested in seeing that fight.
No, not really. As soon as that chat was happening,
oh yeah, sorry,
I was just a bit like, meh. All right.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. He's just an incredible, and I think a while ago maybe we criticised him about being more athlete than anything. But maybe he's just tapped into that, that fighter a little bit, and that's a deadly combination, isn't it?
I think, I was listening to the GSP podcast with Lex Friedman. I've not finished it yet, but I'd started it, and he was something really interesting that GSP said. He was talking about the fact that he corners other fighters now and how he recognises that they're different to him. He says, a lot of guys, they like getting in there and fighting. He said, and I never did. I wasn't getting in there because I love to have a fight. I actually don't like it. The discomfort, the anxiety and all that, the worry, the concern about it not going right.
He was very open about that, wasn't he, for years,
But then you look at Usman and he's not going in there to fight. He's going in there to win. And the more I watch, the more it becomes obvious that there's a real strength to that. It's almost like it's having almost like a bit of a sociopathic approach to it. Like you don't you don't get involved in or there's no battle of ego there aside from wanting to win. I feel like
there was a touch this time. Like he had an egoic point to prove with.
Maybe. I felt like he did in the Colby fight more than this one. And I don't think he hit Colby with good shots, but it didn't look like he was. Like there was no real venom in it, in my opinion. It was tactical. Like you can see in someone's intention when they're throwing a shot what they mean by it. And that punch by Usman over Masvidal was aimed and it was perfect.
It was perfect.
There was no emotion that made it kind of ragged or overloaded on his front leg. He stepped himself right into range.
Yeah. I mean that's
punch clean through.
That's martial arts, right? That's what we want.
Yeah.
The ego is evaporated away, and the correct technique at the correct time with the correct timing is nirvana. That's what we're aiming for, right?
Yeah.
Is to take the fighter out of it to some degree.
See, V and I had a conversation about this the other day, and there's so many scenes in Enter the Dragon, so many scripted pieces that were written by Bruce Lee, and I watched it all the way through school and it all sunk in and I've got it all in my brain, carved into the inside of my skull. But I can still reflect on bits now and learn from it. And things that he said, there's a scene where he's training Lau and was one of the students at the temple. He sat down and he's having tea with Mr. Braithwaite and he's like, hang on a minute, it's Lau's time. And he just goes through the finger pointing to the moon scene. And he says, the first thing he says, kick me. And Lau kicks him and he goes, try harder this time with meaning. And then he tries again. He's like, he's basically saying, do it with intention, but not with aggression. And that was the lesson in that scene. It's like you can intend to land with accuracy and with power, but if you do it with aggression, then I'm going to see it coming. Because he missed him. He moved out of the way.
Yeah, right.
What was that? An exhibition? We need emotional content. But he says emotional content, not anger. So then you debate what he means by emotional content, and then you look at the execution of that punch, and I wouldn't say there was anger in it. I wouldn't say there was anger in his punches against Colby, but there was emotional content.
But we how many times when you fight angry, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's completely exhausting, isn't it?
But it does work for people. Yeah. It worked for Vanderlei. It worked for Robbie Lawler. Yeah. I would say to an extent it works for Amanda Nunes. She looks aggressive, you know what I mean? She's exercising demons when she's fighting.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's an interesting difference in some, maybe you could see Rose, for example, that kick. There was emotional content in that, but there was not anger.
No. It was calm, if anything. Yeah.
Which is why she was able to place it so cleanly through the guard.
You see Ali Abdelaziz parading around the BMF belt this morning on social media.
I did not know.
His fighters seem to love him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't half come across like a bellend.
Well, I mean, the thing is, the impression that I've got is that he goes above and beyond for everybody that he works with, and that's why they love him. And that's the role of being a good manager. He manages a lot of fighters,
yeah, he does.
And I would imagine he's got a very good working relationship with the UFC, which is why a lot of fighters sign with him.
Mind you, always have sometimes in your friendship group there's a dickhead, but he's your dickhead. And you're like, yeah, I know he's a dickhead to everyone else, but he's like our dickhead, so he's all right. Maybe he's just like that.
I mean, I know up to this point you think we've not got one in our friendship group, but that's because it's...
Yeah. Because it took this long for you to tell me.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I got to a stage a little while ago where I started muting a bunch of people that weren't fighters. I want fighters and coaches. I want people throwing nunchucks, and I want puppies on my Instagram to level me out. Puppies and Lego.
Like, no one should touch that belt apart from the guy that won the belt. Do you know what I mean? That's the principle of that belt.
But then the belts, I mean, what is it?
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like, if you're not a bad motherfucker, don't touch the belt. Do you know what I mean? True. It's like, just leave it alone. It's not yours.
But then who judges who's a bad motherfucker?
Well, yeah.
I mean, if we're judging bad motherfuckers, like I said on the ride along, Usman probably deserves that belt now. I mean, that was a bad motherfucking knockout.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So we are in the last few days of our Manscaped offer. If you quickly want to jump on that, 20% off and free shipping at the checkout with full Reptile as your code. And then, as always, we're sponsored by Xbrain. They've been supporting us at the pro team up at Hardy Warlord, and obviously, we're good friends with Xbrain. If you want to drop in full Reptile at the checkout there, you'll also get 10% off. And there are two sponsors for today.
There we go.
Happy days.
Look at that sponsorship read. Almost professional.
Almost.